Our second day on the Southern Upland Way felt like our first proper day on the trail, given that we'd be spending the night in the first of 5 bothies. We'd be travelling from Spout Wells on the southern outskirts of Stranraer, where we left off yesterday, to the quaintly named Beehive Bothy at Laggangarn in what at the moment is a forest in a wind farm. The distance would be just over 18 miles, mainly on road and track, but with a fair bit of trail thrown in, especially towards the end of the section, which has a total ascent of over 1,500 feet. We'll be calling at the tea rooms at Castle Kennedy at 5 miles, where I was looking forward to the excellent coffee and where we could use a toilet should we need to. Climbing begins at Glenry at around 6 miles, but being aware of the distance, we'd be bypassing the village of New Luce, which is difficult to incorporate if, like us, you're keen to stick to the trail or you're not using accommodation there. I managed to visit on a cycle tour a couple of weeks later. There's a link to the video in the description. Sticking to the trail would allow me to visit the Bronze Age stroke Neolithic site at Killgallioch. There's a similar site at Carnagath towards the end of the section, so time would have to be factored in for that, as well as for photographing the waterfalls known as the Luce of Barnes Hanging, which are pointed out in the excellent Cicerone guide that I'd actually brought with me. There's a link to that publication also in the description. The forecast appeared to be a decent one, so hopefully we could just concentrate on what for us seemed like it was going to be quite a long section. Day 2, and we're heading for Beehive Bothy at Laggangarn. Just leaving Stranraer now, going by what's the castle? Castle Kennedy and New Luce. The weather forecast, hopefully the rain's going to hold off. The winds have died down from yesterday, but it's not looking too good for the day after. 45 mile an hour winds predicted last night. Whether that actually, I hope it doesn't work out, but at least it'll keep the midges away. I'm probably going to eat the pastry. It just seems a shame to leave it.
This one's the Glen 1 Cluty tree and Ultrae.
Oh, beautifully said, Diane. Said like a true native.
Nothing. Empty. crisis. Find out. Oh, there's some in. Pleased with myself?
Very good.
It's a bolete. Be edible, that.
Would it?
Yeah.
Is there any point in taking it, like? Or...
No, well, it's not much left of it. Grim.
What?
Grim.
All right, okay, I see. Yeah, what's that all about?
Look at this, it's really nice.
Excellent. I think I'm gonna vom. Will there be a charge for that?
Yeah, probably a little bit of treasure. It's squidgy. Wasn't too bad.
Feel a bit of a wally.
What happened?
More matter of the GoPro as well.
Not forgetting much then.
See that bull, Diane?
No, he's a big lad.
He certainly is.
I hope it's not true about bulls chasing red because I've got a red bag on.
Oh yes. Well, it's that classic joke, isn't it? I only have to run faster than you.
Yeah.
1 Nice one.
And round to they are Dryad saddle. We're having those this evening.
Bears aren't home. Go on, Goldilocks.
Oh, that's a small door. Oh wow.
Me, big chief.
I'm now hooked.
How are you feeling?
Tired. It's good to get the weight off, like.
Oh, my feet are zinging a bit, that's for sure. I went 10 miles too long there.
I was going to say 5, but no mind.
Aye. Come on, blow.
No, I'm in soft to see.
It's getting there. Last few breaths are always easiest. What you're intending to do with them?
The Dryad saddle, we're going to eat them. Okay. That bit's a bit tough, so we're going to avoid it. It's not too bad. It's pretty soft.
And what are you calling this then?
It's called
Fruits of the sea. Oh, the mystery ingredient here.
It is coming out. Can't see it.
If Niall sees us, make him proud of you.
Do you realise you're getting me to do this cackhand?
The first third of today's section, leaving Stranraer from Spout Wells, was flat across agricultural land on roads and tracks, crossing the busy A77 into Stranraer. Thereafter, a nice gentle walk through deciduous woodland, crossing under the Stranraer to Glasgow line at this point here, where if you're looking for the trail, you might want to go a little bit further up this road than appears on the map. But after that, it's a nice walk through to Castle Kennedy, where there's a shop attached to a petrol station. Then into Castle Kennedy grounds, past the White Loch with Lockhinch Castle in the distance, into the Castle Kennedy Gardens entrance, where there's a tea shop that sells excellent coffee and food and toilets. Coming out of the Castle Kennedy grounds, it's back onto the road up to Clenry, where the climbing starts. As you can see on the map, it's a fairly steep climb, still through pasture, onto fell, then onto the road, onto a track which brings you to the Glenwan forest. Follow the edge of the forest along. This is generally starting to drop downhill now, on the edge of Aeriol and Moss. Very boggy here, depending on the time of year. Down eventually across the Craigburn, then more woodland until crossing the Stranraer to Glasgow line for the second time, you wind down along a lovely meadow to a suspension bridge over the water of Luce. It's very steep up here on a trail to the road, and a short distance through what's just a couple of houses really at Cruise, then off the road uphill onto fell at Kilhern Moss. Long drag over Kilhern Moss, very exposed. Here is a potential excellent wild camping site with a water source. And turning northwest at the ruined farm at Kilhern, not where you'd find Kilhern Caves as I learned to my cost, but a little bit further along where the trail passes through this stone wall. There's a sign saying Caves of Kilhern, 200 metres that way, which is where I found them. And it's a long descent over rough ground, on a good trail though, to the road which leads into New Luce. We weren't going that way today. I did hope to photograph the loops of Barnshangen, which are a couple of waterfalls I believe, but basically switched off at that point and kind of forgot about it because it's not marked on this map. But then it's a long stretch on the road up to Balmory. Track thereafter for a short while until reaching Balmory Fell, and then it gets boggy again. Carnagath, the other Neolithic site that I was interested in, is actually off the trail, and we were so stuck for time at this point I really didn't want to go across. Luckily the camera's able to get a decent zoom on it, a proper good optical zoom, and so I just contented myself with that. There are another couple of roundhouse sites here, but again, not being marked on this map, I just completely ignored them. We then crossed Brown Hill, which is the highest point on the route, into the face of the wind farm towering above us. Personally, I think it's quite menacing, but that's my personal opinion. Into the forest, when you think, right, we're nearly home, but it's another 2.5 kilometres or so over what can be pretty rough stony trails, so just be aware of that until such times as you undulate to the point where you're looking down on the Beehive Bothy, which comes as a welcome sight. Just a quick word on the Beehive Bothy. It does have a mouth, so just be careful of your gear. And we had a water filter bottle, soft water filter bottle that looked like it had been eaten through by it the next day. And talking about water, there is a burn just down here that runs the side of the Beehive Bothy, which is excellent. The water's peaty, but if you boil it, it's okay. Personally, I'd probably drink it as it stood. But that's it.